Hi guys, so Dylan White has revealed the only way he believes that Anthony Joshua can beat Andy Ruiz Jr. in the rematch on December 7th. This is what he had to say. I just think Joshua needs to do what he does best. I think he should not listen to all of this negativity. That's all nonsense. He needs to do the thing he does best. What he does best is being strong and being aggressive and on the offense. That's what he does. Ruiz clocked him with a good punch behind the ear. He didn't recover. It's boxing. Everyone gets put on their ass sooner or later, and it was just his turn. He needs to listen. If he uses his jab more against Andy Ruiz, he knocks him out. He just needs to jab more. Doubles, singles, and triples, and he knocks Ruiz out. Ruiz is a tough guy. If you hit him with the right hand, he takes it. If you hit him with a couple of jabs, he doesn't see the right hand coming. Boom, that will be it. Let's be honest, Ruiz is a good fighter. He doesn't look it, but he is a good fighter. He's got quick hands but slow feet, and that's why Joshua needs to use the jab. So, that is Dylan White's personal opinion on Anthony Joshua going into the rematch with Andy Ruiz Jr. He seems to think that Anthony Joshua needs to jab more, and I agree with him. I think Anthony Joshua does need to jab more. He wasn't jabbing all that much in the first fight, and when he was jabbing, it was coming from the hip, which is something he doesn't normally do. So in the rematch, he does need to get back jabbing a lot more. And success will come off of the jab if he sets it up properly, obviously using a double jab as Dylan White explained. And if Anthony Joshua does keep that jab in his face the whole fight, then Ruiz will not be able to anticipate that right hand coming. Now in the first fight it was an uppercut, then a left hook that dropped Ruiz. And if Anthony Joshua found a few more punches like that, then he would have beat Andy Ruiz Jr. I'm pretty sure that that is the only uppercut that Anthony Joshua threw in that fight, which seemed to be a very good weapon for him in his previous fights against Vladimir Klitschko. Obviously, that was the punch that led up to the knockout, and it was the punch that finally finished off Dylan White in their fight. So it is a very good weapon for Anthony Joshua, but he barely used it in the first fight. Now in the second fight, obviously he won't be able to use it straight away, go rushing in and try and land a big uppercut, because he can't just do that against Andy Ruiz Jr., because Ruiz will punch back and fight back when Anthony Joshua is aggressive. Now, obviously, Dylan White says that Anthony Joshua needs to be more aggressive in the fight, which I agree with. Maybe he does, but he does need to use that jab and maybe even double it up or even triple it up, like Dylan White said, and the success must come off of the jab, because if he rushes in too quickly without using the jab, then that allows Andy Ruiz Jr. the opportunity to counter, because obviously if Anthony Joshua is using the jab, then that keeps the distance, and obviously Anthony Joshua has the reach advantage. So Andy Ruiz Jr. will be on the end of the jab and he will not be able to land any punches of his own, especially if Anthony Joshua keeps that jab in his face. So ultimately, Dylan White is correct. I do believe that Anthony Joshua does need to be using that jab, and not necessarily just all-out aggression, but controlled aggression is important in the fight, because Andy Ruiz Jr. will not go without a fight, and as I said, he will punch back when Anthony Joshua starts landing. As long as Anthony Joshua can keep that distance, then he avoids those big hooks from Andy Ruiz Jr. If you watch the last fight, when he rushes in to finish Andy Ruiz Jr., he doesn't set anything up with the jab, and that allowed Andy Ruiz Jr. to get into range, to get on the inside. In the rematch, he will know that he needs to keep his distance from Andy Ruiz Jr. Anytime Andy Ruiz Jr. does find his way past that jab, he needs to tie him up. There is no use Anthony Joshua fighting Andy Ruiz Jr. on the inside, because that is not his game. That is Andy Ruiz Jr.'s game. And if Andy Ruiz Jr. cannot get on the inside, then he definitely can't box Anthony Joshua at range. It's just impossible for him to do. So that means that he's going to have to come to Anthony Joshua. And as I said, if Anthony Joshua is keeping that jab in his face, then Andy Ruiz Jr. is going to struggle to find any success, and he will get desperate and maybe walk on to something big from Anthony Joshua. Now, you would think that this fight can't go the distance because you have two fighters who are heavy hitters, and you would think that there are vulnerabilities for both of them. Obviously, Andy Ruiz Jr. has a very good chin, but Anthony Joshua does possess the power to hurt him, as does Andy Ruiz Jr. possess the power to hurt Anthony Joshua. So you would think that maybe this fight isn't going to go the distance, but I think that is the game plan that Anthony Joshua should go in there with, to box Andy Ruiz Jr. and maybe take a 12-round decision if he must. Then the knockout will come organically. It always does in fights when you set it up with that jab. It is a very important weapon, especially for Anthony Joshua, where his fight game is long-range boxing and power shots. Anthony Joshua done actually quite well in the last fight, considering he was fighting completely out of character. I've never seen him fight like that before, and I don't believe he will ever fight like that again, especially in the rematch on December 7th. He will have a remedy for Andy Ruiz Jr. because he will have ample time to prepare. He will get proper sparring in, whereas last time he was prepared for Jarrell Miller. And I know people say that Andy Ruiz Jr. had exactly the same time to prepare for Anthony Joshua, but In some ways, that's not true. Andy Ruiz Jr. has known who his target is for years, so he has been preparing for Anthony Joshua for a very long time. He has been hoping to get that shot at Anthony Joshua. And he is used to fighting taller opponents. His last opponent was Dimitrenko, so that was good preparation for Anthony Joshua. Whereas Anthony Joshua was preparing for a bigger, more physically imposing, and a bigger target to hit, whereas Andy Ruiz Jr. was making himself small and difficult to tag clean. So guys, what are your thoughts on this? Dillian Whyte saying that Anthony Joshua's only opportunity to win the rematch is to be aggressive and go back to the way he fought in his earlier career. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, click the thumbs up, and subscribe if you are new. Thanks guys.